I'm Rachel Lynn for Queen Bee of Honeydews, and today I wanted to show you how I made this really cool looking concrete serving tray. The inspiration for this project was my husband, who loves concrete, but also more than that loves to have poolside snacks without having to chase the paper plates into the pool. So I came up with this idea to create this serving tray that can stay outside, and the tray comes out, is washable, and it's really cool. Look, it says chilling on one side, and I don't know if you can see that with the lighting, but grilling on the other. Has these really cool rope handles so that I can carry it around, and like I said, that tray comes out, I can take it out, wash it anytime that I want. So let's go back and take a look and see how I did this project.
To start my project, I cut my melamine boards to allow a minimum of 2 inches on each end of the tray and 1 inch around all the remaining areas. If you're using a decal, you need to apply that before assembling your forms. I made this decal using my vinyl cutting machine, but you can use any material as long as it is fully adhered to the melamine boards and made from a material that does not absorb water. Whatever you choose to use, just make sure that you're applying it in a mirror-like fashion to get the results that you want. Now, I just want to quickly show you how I assembled my forms. After clamping everything in place, I'm going to just drag it over to the edge of the table and pre-drill some holes and screw them in place using just some basic drywall screws. Repeat that process for all 4 sides, making sure that everything is level and square. Then apply a thin bead of silicone caulk to all of the seams and smooth it in with your finger. Try not to overwork the silicone, but get it as neat as possible. A little bit of sloppiness isn't going to hurt anything at this point. Set the form aside and allow that to dry according to the instructions. Now, to form my rope handles, I just rolled the rope around onto itself and used a couple of twist ties to hold everything in place. The most important thing here is that the rope handles fit inside the form, allowing at least 1 inch along all of the sides for the concrete to hold everything securely. For my concrete mixture, I'm using Quikrete countertop mix. However, Quikrete 5000 will work just as well. I'm also using a charcoal colorant, which I added to the water prior to adding to the dry mix. The mixture should end up looking like a really thick milkshake when you're done. I recommend mixing more than you think you'll need and then tapping the bucket to try to get as much of the air bubbles out before you do the pour. Once the mix is ready, start dumping it into the form. Now this is going to be a really heavy form, so you're not going to do as much tapping. You're going to do a lot of working with your hands. Now make sure you spray the cooking spray onto your tray and then work it down into that concrete. Being careful because these snap really easily. Just twist it in place and then start adding in your rope handles. Add concrete as needed. It will gradually rise up and you'll just need to push everything down, maneuver it around. Obviously 2 gloves would be better than 1. Add some weights to that tray to hold it in place and then just start smoothing out the edges. It's going to look ugly when you first start. Just keep maneuvering and smoothing and smoothing and smoothing, and eventually you're going to get it all packed in and it'll look nice on top with a nice raw edge. And then you're just going to want to leave it alone and let it dry overnight. So the next day you're going to remove the screws from your form and start tapping it out with a hammer. Don't actually hit the concrete, just tap on the melamine boards lightly until it pops loose from the concrete. As long as you do not let this sit longer than 24 hours, everything should come off really easy. Once those forms are off, then you want to take a sharp blade or a sharp edge, I'm just using my putty knife, and carefully score around that tray. Don't pry, don't try to force it out. Just score the concrete around the edge of it and just start gradually wedging in until it pops free. Then you just want to take a bristle brush and start cleaning up any of the loose material, especially on those rope handles. Knock off any concrete that got stuck on there. Knock off any of the loose debris that's left on that raw top edge. We just want to get as much of anything off that's just left lingering. Then you're going to want to sand down those thin, tall edges. I'm just using an orbital sander. No need to have a concrete grinder for this. We're going to just very lightly take off those high, thin peaks around the edges because we don't want to leave anything behind that could chip off later. That wouldn't be good for your food. So just get rid of anything that looks like it could come off at a later time. Knock it down, but not completely smooth. Clean that up with a hose and wait 72 hours. And then I am just going to highlight my letters. This is not something you have to do, but I'm doing it just using a mix of water and paint at a 1-to-1 ratio. And that just adds a little bit of a highlighting to it and accents them a little more. Once that's done, I'm going to add some feet to this using a 5-minute epoxy and a few clamps. These are just some feet that I picked up at the local hardware store. They're the kind that's hard plastic that goes on the bottom of furniture. I'm flipping them upside down and just adhering them with some 5-minute epoxy, allowing that to dry, and then I'm going to move on. Finally, I'm going to add a coat of sealant to this. If you plan to use your tray to put food directly into the concrete, I advise you to use a sealant that is food safe. Otherwise, please use your insert tray to add any wet food items. And then you will be chilling and you will be grilling.
So what do you think? Was that a cool project or what? So if you like it, make sure you subscribe to my channel because I think since this turned out so great, I'm going to make several other accessories to go out here.